Hello. Yeah, I'm back. This is serious. I wake up every morning thinking, oh my goodness, I look at what we're going through, all of us collectively. And a lot of us are very uh, anxious and really traumatized. You have people out here, a lot of people can't handle all of this. This is a lot. You scared to eat lettuce now? Yeah, it's um it's scary out here. So I want to take my time and focus on the upcoming midterms because I see a lot of misinformation, a lot of talking points, a lot of disgraceful words coming out people's mouths. How? I can't help but to wonder who raised these people and who indoctrinated these people into thinking that they are better than other people because of the skin color and because their last name. But I got this book and I just want to read a little bit out of it because it has a lot to do with what we're dealing with, the attitudes and opinions. Now we are really focusing on people's opinions right now, especially who should have the majority in the legislator, the Senate. Um, and so many of us know that these people that are supporting a criminal, not just a criminal, but somebody who has been accused of being a pedophile and a rapist and a sexual assaulter and a forster, how do that even, how do you even stand on the same podium as somebody who's been accused of that? And we all know that people get lied on. I done got lied on plenty of times. Is this the world we living in now that the grown people now don't care about children? It's a lot of us who do, that's for sure. But unless everybody do, it's going to be a vicious cycle. Now, this is something that James A. Garfield said, according to this. The president is the last person in the world to know what the people really want and think. Now, why would he say that? Our government rests on public opinion. Whoever can change public opinion can change the government practically as such. Abraham Lincoln. Now, who's the public? Well, see, that's what the fight is all about. Trying to say who is the public and whose opinion really matters. Yeah. I see people are getting sick and tired of being treated like low class, no class, third class citizens. When they were born here and they have worked here, went to school here, have raised kids here, and they still being treated like rats. People get tired of that. Just like when the president gonna try to say something about that uh, Michigan person that was elected. I need to write his name down. uh, and a lot of his followers are saying bad things about these people. Why? Just because of their name and just because of their faith? When this country has been a land of different faiths and for hundreds of years, and we're tired of it. We're tired of being treated that way. And we're tired of not having the representation that everybody else has. And they need to get it in their head it's never going to be the country that you have fantasized of it. It never was, it never will be. Now, political attitudes and behaviors have received far more attention than any other area of public opinion. Political is all about politics. So, and we always hear about, we get the poll numbers, and then you turn around and Trump go in front of his audience and tell them that his polls are doing good. They're fake polls. But polls really, it's just a tool that they use. That's all. It's it do get some people to, it may get some people to change their votes because a lot of people pay attention to them. But I just pay attention to uh, how I'm feeling, how I'm going to vote. The political attitude area is almost unique among areas of public opinion in having easily measured behavior can commit the vote. Therefore, voting behavior is frequently used as a criteria in political attitude surveys. Now, we all have learned, well, most of us have learned that they can manipulate people. It's a lot of people that are easily manipulated, and you have some very good manipulators. Just like they manipulate people to the public to agree to start a war. Well, this time it don't seem like that's working because a lot of people are tired of wars. Wars do not. It's too many wars going on. And then you find out 10, 15 years later, really, how bad it was. Yes, because they can manipulate the news and they can convince the newscasters not to report on certain things. Yeah, I didn't know how bad it was. I'm um I'm listening to this book and I'm learning about, oh my goodness, I didn't know it was that bad. Um, Manufacturing consent. Because news is just like a factory. It manufacture what they want people to know. And that's sad. Yeah, it's just sad. So let's look at this. I'm going to share a few of these uh, news video clips, and we're going to first. I want to get into this. Um, of course everybody have heard about the uh, Joe Biden's diagnosis is getting worse, and it's yeah. So I do feel for his family and him that's going through that. It's so many people out here that's going through so many bad things and times and then we have a administration that's making it worse. I heard that so many black women have lost their jobs since January. Um, so I could just uh, and some of them probably voted for Trump. Just like that man that's all over the news that voted for Trump and now he about to lose his business. That happens in any administration. I know it does. But that's why I say we are going through our trying times, just like they went through the trying times during World War I, World War II, Vietnam. We all go through these things because we continually elect people like that. So we're going to continue to go through that. That's the bottom line. What's next? We don't look towards the future enough because if we electing criminals, what's going to be next? What's next going to be in the White House? A gangster, mafia, dope dealer? Who knows? So this is only 10 minutes, but I didn't get a chance to see
President Biden, you would be 86,
I don't like that.
ability to handle the toughest job in the world.
Okay. Okay. Handling. See, you know what? We should know by now. You don't even have to know how to read music to be a great musician. You don't know how to, you don't even have to know how to read to be a teacher. All you got to do is know how to manipulate the system, brainwash people into thinking you are the best thing since sliced bread. And that's all you need. We're not stupid. You can literally talk a person into doing anything you want them to if you're good enough. Good enough.
Well into your 80s.
Well, first of all, I spent half my career being criticized being the youngest person in politics. I was the second youngest person ever elected to the United States Senate, and now I'm the oldest. This guy's 3 years younger and a lot less competent.
Former President Trump, to follow up, you would be 82 at the end of your second term. What do you say to voters who have concerns about your capabilities to serve?
Well, I took 2 tests, cognitive tests. I aced them, both of them, as you know. We made it public. He took none. I'd like to see him take one, just one, a real easy one. Like go through the first 5 questions. He couldn't do it. But I took 2 cognitive tests. I took physical exams every year. And, you know, we knock on wood wherever we may have wood, that I'm in very good health. I just won 2 club championships, not even senior, 2 regular club championships. To do that, you have to be quite smart, and you have to be able to hit the ball a long way. And I do it. He doesn't do it. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. He challenged me to a golf match. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. I think I'm in very good shape. I feel that I'm as in good a shape as I was 25, 30 years ago. Actually, I'm probably a little bit lighter. January 6th, the lowest regulations ever. On January 6th, we were respected all over the world. All over the world, we were respected. And then he comes in, and we're now laughed at. We're like a bunch of stupid people. What happened to the United States' reputation under this man's leadership is horrible.
Will you pledge tonight that once all legal challenges have been exhausted, that you will accept the results of this election, regardless of who wins, and you will say right now that political violence in any form is unacceptable?
Well, I shouldn't have to say that, but of course I believe that. It's totally unacceptable. And if you would see my statements that I made on Twitter at the time, and also my statement that I made in the Rose Garden, you would say it's one of the strongest statements you've ever seen. In addition to the speech I made in front of, I believe, the largest crowd I've ever spoken to, and I will tell you, nobody ever talks about that. They talk about a relatively small number of people that went to the Capitol, and in many cases were ushered in by the police. And as Nancy Pelosi said, it was her responsibility, not mine. She said that loud and clear. But the answer is, if the election is fair, free, and I want that more than anybody. And I'll tell you something. I wish he was a great president, because I wouldn't be here right now. I'd be at one of my many places enjoying myself. I wouldn't be under indictment because I wouldn't have been his political opponent, because he indicted me because I was his opponent. Russia would have never attacked if I were
President Trump, the question was, will you accept the results of the election, regardless of who wins? Yes or no, please.
If it's a fair and legal and good election, absolutely. I would have much rather accepted these, but the fraud and everything else was ridiculous. And if you want, we'll have a news conference on it in a week, or we'll have another one of these in a week. But I will absolutely, there's nothing I'd rather do. It would be much easier for me to do that than I'm running again. I wasn't really going to run until I saw the horrible job he did. He's destroying our country. I would be very happy to be someplace else, in a nice location someplace. And again, no indictments, no political opponent stuff, because it's the only way he thinks he can win. But unfortunately, it's driven up my numbers and driven them up to a very high level, because the people understand it.
Well, let's see what your numbers are when this election is over. Let's see. You're a whiner. When you lost the first time, You continued, you appealed and appealed to courts all across the country. Not one single court in America said any of your claims had any merit, state or local, none. But you continue to provoke this lie about somehow there was all this misrepresentation, all this stealing. There is no evidence of that at all. And I tell you what, I doubt whether you'll accept it because you're such a whiner. The idea if you lose again, you accepting anything, you can't stand the loss. Something snapped in you when you lost the last time. The only person on this stage is a convicted felon is the man I'm looking at right now. And the fact of the matter is, what he's telling you is simply not true. The fact is that there was no effort on his part to stop what was going on up in Capitol Hill. And all those people, every one of those who were convicted, deserves to be convicted.
Like so many politicians, this man is just a complainer. He said, we want to do this, we want to do that, we want to get rid of this tax, that tax. But he doesn't do anything. All he does is make our country unsafe by allowing millions and millions of people to pour in. This was his dream. I talked to him about it, his dream. The difference is he never would have invaded Ukraine, never. Just like Israel would have never been invaded in a million years by Hamas. You know why? Because Iran was broke with me. I wouldn't let anybody do business with them. They ran out of money. They were broke. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for anything, no money for terror. That's why you had no terror at all during my administration. This place, the whole world is blowing up under him.
The only one who wants the war to continue is Hamas, number one. They're the only ones standing out. We're still pushing hard to get them to accept.
Israel's the one that wants to go. He said the only one who wants to keep going is Hamas. Actually, Israel is the one, and you should let him go and let him finish the job. He doesn't want to do it. He's become like a Palestinian, but they don't like him because he's a very bad Palestinian. He's a weak one. Our veterans are on the street. They're dying because he doesn't care about our veterans. He doesn't care. He doesn't like the military at all, and he doesn't care about our veterans. Nobody been worse. I had the highest approval rating for veterans taking care of the VA. He has the worst. He's gotten rid of all the things that I approved, choice that I got through Congress, all of the different things I approved, they abandoned. We had by far the highest, and now it's down in less than half because he's done all these great things that we did. And I think he did it just because I approved it, which is crazy. But he has killed so many people at our border by allowing all of these people to come in. And it's a very sad day in America.
President Biden, you have the mic.
Every single thing he said is a lie. Every single one. For example, veterans are a hell of a lot better off since I passed the PACT Act. 1 million of them now have insurance, and their families have it. Their families have it because what happened, whether it was Agent Orange or burn pits, they're all being covered now. And his group opposed that. We're also in a situation where we have great respect for veterans. My son spent a year in Iraq, living right next to one of those burn pits, came back with stage 4 glioblastoma. I was recently in France for D-Day, and I spoke all about those heroes that died. I went to the World War I cemetery he refused to go to. He was standing with his 4-star general, and he told me, he said, I don't want to go in there because they're a bunch of losers and suckers. My son was not a loser, was not a sucker. You're the sucker. You're the loser. I supported Roe v. Wade, which had 3 trimesters. The first time is between the woman and the doctor. Second time is between the doctor and an extreme situation. The third time is between the doctor, between the woman and the state. The idea that the politicians, that the founders wanted the politicians to be the ones making decisions about women's health is ridiculous.
He can take the life of the baby in the 9th month and even after birth, because some states, Democrat run, take it after birth.
You know what? Every time he says that, I want to just reach and choke him. If you was a birth, listen. Now, he says that stupid statement that a person can have the baby and they kill the baby. That's murder. But then after they took the Roe versus Wade away, mothers are dying because they can't get life-saving health care. This is so strange to me. Since I've been excuse me, that um, Roe versus Wade, it did pass when I was a child, just a little toddler. And it saved more lives because, it was a time where women were getting abortions and were dying because they was getting abortions by unauthorized doctors or using hangers and all kind of stuff. Why is that up to a woman if she want to have a child or not? They don't give people choices when they go in there and bomb that school. They are willing to kill a bunch of girls by bombing them, but they want to get an attitude when a woman wants to go and have an abortion. Make it make sense. What that woman does with her body has no effect on me, you, him, or him. But you know what has an effect? When these women have these kids and then abuse them, or some man goes and rape that child. And then they want these women to have all these kids. And then in the next years, they're talking about jobs are going to be scarce. Food is going to be so bad that people are going to be starving to death. So we are just going to have kids just to fulfill some fantasy. No, 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 no. I can't stand it. It makes me so mad when he said it. When we just heard about um that 4-year-old being killed by her parents. Come on. This oh, pitiful. And they sit up there and let him say that. They let him keep saying that. Prove it. The next time you say that, have some proof that somebody went in the hospital and had a baby and the doctors killed the baby. Or somebody 6 months go in there and have an abortion. That is definitely against the law.
The tariff. So when I had tariffs, and yet I had no inflation. Look, we've had a terrible economy because inflation which is really known as a country buster. It breaks up countries. We have inflation like very few people have ever seen before, probably the worst in our nation's history. We were at 21%, but that's being generous because many things are 50, 60, 70, and 80% higher than they were just a few years ago. This has been a disaster for people, for the middle class, but for every class. On top of that, we have millions of people pouring into our country from prisons and jails, from mental institutions and insane asylums.
Okay. See, you see how he pivoted away from the economy to immigration? Because he would get tongue-tied. He can't talk about economics because it takes a economist and somebody with intelligence to speak on that for a long period of time. But he wants to get down to the nitty-gritty. The brown and the black people. That's what's really not the economics, not your food being $10 a pound. It's the black and the brown people that's making your life miserable. And they know that's not true because most of his white voters live in white towns where the only time they see black people really is on television. And if you look at a certain station, you ain't gonna see too many of them.
Asylums, and they're coming in and they're taking jobs that are occupied right now by African Americans and Hispanics, and also unions. Unions are going to be affected very soon. And you see what's happening. You see what's happening with towns throughout the United States. You look at Springfield, Ohio. You look at Aurora in Colorado. They are taking over the towns. They're taking over buildings. They're going in violently. These are the people that Xi and Biden led into our country, and they're destroying our country.
Okay. Now, I've heard that they asked them to come in because they don't want to admit it. But these immigrants, they come here and they work. They work hard. They work hard. They take care of their homes. They take care of their children. I have yet to see a gang. Okay, you're going to have your bad people. That's everywhere. They take care. They work. They got a good work ethic. They come to work. They rather hire the immigrants than us born Americans. You know why? Because we're lazy. Even though we may not have much, we still lazy as hell. Don't want to show up to work. Want to work halfway. Want to leave early. Come to work high. Oh, I know. I have seen people come in every morning and get their blunt and roll their blunt before they go to work. Yes. And they can't stand that these immigrants, 98% of them work hard, take care of their families. Their kids are disciplined. Their kids are educated. They come over here to live a good, decent life. But like America, it does taint everybody. It's not like the ones that was born here that think they privileged. Don't want to clean up their neighborhood. And I already mentioned how nasty most of those European is, and you have these immigrants that are cleaning up behind now. They are forced to sign NDAs. I don't care if they can't write or speak English. They're going to make them sign that NDA with an X. You can't tell what you see and hear. But see, they like to spread that hate. Hate gets people elected, not love.
They're dangerous. They're at the highest level of criminality.
That's a lie.
And we have to get them out. We have to get them out fast.
A criminal.
I created one of the greatest economies in the history of our country. I'll do it again.
This man is a criminal. That's crazy.
And even better.
We are going to get to immigration and border security during this debate, but I would like to let Vice President Harris respond on the economy here.
Well, I would love to. Let's talk about what Donald Trump left us. Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. Donald Trump left us the worst public health epidemic in a century. Donald Trump left.
Okay. Now, see, that's what makes me so mad. That it was a pandemic out here, and they didn't even tell us. People was dying because he didn't want to say anything because he thought it was going to look bad on him. He the one that told people to go and inject bleach. And they said some people did it. Now unemployment, they said we just lost 23,000 jobs in 1 month alone. And then you get unemployed, you're out here struggling, and it does something to your psyche. Some people can't handle it. And it caused a lot of problems that spill onto our problems. Just like that woman, oh, that hurt me so bad that this woman lost her life because a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old got in a car and drove it because the parents were asleep in the middle of the day. With all these problems going on in our daily lives, we are going to hire a criminal, an old ass criminal, to try to fix it. How stupid can we get? Can we get any stupider than that? That could have been any one of us. Just walking across the street to the store.
Us the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War. And what we have done is clean up Donald Trump's mess. What we have done and what I intend to do now are the aspirations and hopes of the American people. But I'm going to tell you all in this debate tonight, you're going to hear from the same old tired playbook, a bunch of lies, grievances, and name-calling. What you're going to hear tonight is a detailed and dangerous plan called Project 2025 that the former president intends on implementing if he were elected again. I believe very strongly that the American people want a president who understands the importance of bringing us together, knowing we have so much more in common than what separates us. And I pledge to you to be a president for all Americans.
President Trump, will give you a minute here to respond.
Number one, I have nothing to do, as you know, and as she knows better than anyone, I have nothing to do with Project 2025.
Okay, now we all know that's a lie. We knew it was a lie then. And we all know that he's a president of the red states. He's a president of the white people with a mixture of little black here and there that, you know, kiss his boots. We know that now. And we see that the harm that is causing us, just like those people that woman working at In-N-Out Burgers. Got up like every other morning, ate breakfast, smiling, young, life just good. You don't even think about dying at that age. And what's up? A fool with a semi-automatic rifle or something like that goes to her job and shoot it up and kill her. And this fool, as a president, has the nerve to say that crime is down because he is kidnapping all these immigrants, putting them in these horrible places under horrible conditions. As long as I've been on this earth and living in this country, I have never, ever been a part of a society that is that evil towards other human beings. Oh, yes, we dropped bombs on people. Yes, we did. We killed. Yes. They dropped bombs on people right here in the United States. Yes. And yes, they did put the Japanese in internment point. Yeah, in camps. Yes. But since I've been able to know what's going on, I thought things was changing. I thought things was different. I didn't think we would ever do anything like that ever again. Now, once this is over, those people that they terrorize should get a compensation. He's trying to give compensation for people that literally woke up to go cause harm. and disrupt our democracy, as they call it. And he wants to give them money. He wants to make them millionaires. He wants to make criminals millionaires. What do you think they're gonna do with the money? You think they're gonna build up their state, their city, build up their schools? Do you really think they're gonna do that? He will be unleashing the most terrorizing. They're going to have more buildings bombed, more kids being raped and killed, because they're going to be able to rape kids and get away with it because they're going to have them sign an NDA and pay them off. This is not television. This is real life.
That's out there. I haven't read it. I don't want to read it purposely. I'm not going to read it. This was a group of people that got together. They came up with some ideas, I guess some good, some bad, but it makes no difference. I have nothing to do. Everybody knows I'm an open book. Everybody knows what I'm going to do. Cut taxes very substantially and create a great economy like I did before. We had the greatest economy. We got hit with a pandemic, and the pandemic was not since 1917, where 100 million people died, has there been anything like it. We did a phenomenal job with the pandemic. We handed them over a country where the economy and where the stock market was higher than it was before the pandemic came in. Nobody's ever seen it.
Roe v. Wade, he mentioned nowhere in America.
I know. I tried my best to listen to him, but his lies kind of just it makes me want to commit suicide. I mean, because his lies not only are just lies, they are hurtful. They are an epitome of what this racist country has been about for the last 400 years, all in one. We have been lied on as a society and as an individual. Okay, all right. I'm going to go back a little bit more. I'm going to go back some.
A survivor of a crime, a violation to their body, does not have the right to make a decision about what happens to their body next. That is immoral. And one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree. The government, and Donald Trump certainly, should not be telling a woman station resulted in a trade deficit, one of the highest we've
economy, and where the stock market was higher than it was.
Okay, I missed something. Now that is a shame that we live in a country where people get raped. It's a woman being raped every 9 seconds, a woman's being raped. Now, if my 14-year-old got raped and got pregnant, that is a serious matter. I think that should be up to the parents and that child if they want to have that baby. Because you're looking at a life. And that is a horrible decision. And what they're saying is that all those abortions that have been performed before he got into office, because I know some women who have had 2 or 3 abortions. Me, personally, I didn't believe in them, but I believe that a woman should be able to choose if they want one or not. Because they have to live with that. Just like you have all those murderers on death row that literally killed people that was living their life, raising their children. That is one less thing that we should not have even been, that should even be discussed, because it's too much other stuff going on. We should be worrying about is these kids that are here, that are starving, that are being abused. Oh, this is pitiful.
Before the pandemic came in. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. We made ventilators for the entire world. We got gowns, we got masks, we did things that nobody thought possible. And people give me credit for rebuilding the military. They give me credit for a lot of things, but not enough credit for the great job we did with the pandemic. But the only jobs they got were bounce back jobs. These were jobs bounce back, and it bounced back and it went to their benefit. But I was the one that created them. They know it, and so does everybody else.
Vice President Harris, I'll let you respond.
So Donald Trump has no plan for you. And when you look at his economic plan, it's all about tax breaks for the richest people. I am offering what I describe as an opportunity economy, and the best economists in our country, if not the world, have reviewed our relative plans for the future of America. What Goldman Sachs has said is that Donald Trump's plan would make the economy worse, mine would strengthen the economy. What the Wharton School has said is Donald Trump's plan would actually explode the deficit. 16 Nobel laureates have described his economic plan as something that would increase inflation and by the middle of next year would invite a recession. You just have to look at where we are and where we stand on the issues. And I'd invite you to know that Donald Trump actually has no plan for you because he is more interested in defending himself than he is in looking out for you.
That's just a soundbite. They gave her that to say. Look, I went to the Wharton School of Finance, and many of those professors, the top professors, think my plan is a brilliant plan. It's a great plan. It's a plan that's going to bring up our worth, our value as a country. It's going to make people want to be able to go and work and create jobs and create a lot of.
Okay. So when I went to Save-A-Lot, and a turkey drumstick was $11. One drumstick, $11. The prices of goods are going up, but you have to wait a whole nother year to get a raise. Minimum wage here in my state is still $7 an hour. And then this is the setup. That's why I say people need to stop all that protesting and rioting and all this stuff, because you know what? You mess around and get caught up. You get a record. A lot of people are not going to hire you. They're going to use that excuse not to hire you. So you're not going to be able to get a really good paying job. Don't mess around and get some drugs on your record. Oh, you can't even get in housing. You can't even get a darn school loan. So you're stuck working minimum wage jobs. How you going to live? How you going to make it? But even with all that, you still have to work hard. If you got to build your own business, if you got to work for yourself, the best thing to do is stay strong, raise your kids the best way you can, use, resources that's out here. Don't ever think you have to go commit a crime or you have to go and cry in your beer. Because as I found out too late, it's gonna catch up with you. All that partying and drinking, getting all those tattoos and all that stuff, it's gonna catch up with you. We have to start living more for the future.
Good, solid money for our country. And just to finish off, she doesn't have a plan. She copied Biden's plan, and it's like 4 sentences, like run, spot, run. 4 sentences that are just, oh, we'll try and lower taxes. She doesn't have a plan. Take a look at her plan. She doesn't have a plan.
Mr. President, I do want to drill down on something you both brought up. The Vice President brought up your tariffs. You responded, and let's drill down on this, because your plan is what she calls is essentially a national sales tax. Your proposal calls for tariffs, as you pointed out here, on foreign imports across the board. You recently said that you might double your plan, imposing tariffs up to 20% on goods coming into this country. As you know, many economists say that with tariffs at that level, costs are then passed on to the consumer. Vice President Harris has argued it'll mean higher prices on gas, food, clothing, medication, arguing it costs the typical family nearly $4,000 a year. Do you believe Americans can afford higher prices because of tariffs?
They're not going to have higher prices. What's going to have, and who's going to have higher prices, is China and all of the countries that have been ripping us off for years. I was the only president ever. China was paying us hundreds of billions of dollars, and so were other countries. And, you know, if she doesn't like them, they should have gone out and they should have immediately cut the tariffs. But those tariffs are there 3.5 years now under their administration. We are going to take in billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars. I had no inflation, virtually no inflation. They had the highest inflation perhaps in the history of our country, because I've never seen a worse period of time. People can't go out and buy cereal or bacon or eggs or anything else. The people of our country are absolutely dying with what they've done. They've destroyed the economy. And all you have to do is look at a poll. The polls say 80 and 85 and even 90% that the Trump economy was great, that their economy was terrible.
Vice President Harris, I do want to ask for your response, and you heard what the president said there, because the Biden administration did keep a number of the Trump tariffs in place. So how do you respond?
Well, let's be clear that the Trump administration resulted in a trade deficit, one of the highest we've ever seen in the history of America. He invited trade wars. You want to talk about his deal with China? What he ended up doing is, under Donald Trump's presidency, he ended up selling American chips to China to help them improve and modernize their military, basically sold us out, when a policy about China should be in making sure the United States of America wins the competition for the 21st century, which means focusing on the details of what that requires, focusing on relationships with our allies, focusing on investing in American-based technology so that we win the race on AI, on quantum computing, focusing on what we need to do to support America's workforce so that we don't end up having, on the short end of the stick, in terms of workers' rights. But what Donald Trump did, let's talk about this, with COVID, is he actually thanked President Xi for what he did during COVID. Look at his tweet. Thank you, President Xi, exclamation point, when we know that Xi was responsible for lacking and not giving us transparency about the origins of COVID.
President Trump, I'll let you respond.
First of all, they bought the chips from Taiwan. We hardly make chips anymore because of...
Okay, she didn't really answer the question. Why did they keep the tariffs? Did we ever get a good answer? But it don't really matter. The damage has already been done with the tariffs. I'm sure they told him to bring that up, and she didn't answer it. Okay, I'm gonna have to look that up. Why? I wonder, did she ever answer that question? But it don't matter, because, you know, he's like a wrecking ball that goes to the building and one part may be left standing, but sooner or later it's gonna fall.
Philosophies like they have and policies like they have. I don't
across this country. Vice President Harris, you were tasked by President Biden with getting to the root causes of migration from Central America. We know that illegal border crossings reached a record high in the Biden administration. This past June, President Biden imposed tough new asylum restrictions. We know the numbers since then have dropped significantly. But my question to you tonight is, why did the administration wait until 6 months before the election to act? And would you have done anything differently from President Biden on this?
So I'm the only person on this stage who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings. And let me say that the United States Congress, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Senate, came up with a border security bill which I supported. And that bill would have put 1,500 more border agents on the border to help those folks who are working there right now overtime trying to do their job. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States. I know there are so many families watching tonight who have been personally affected by the surge of fentanyl in our country. That bill...
See, this is something about, they've been fighting immigration. These people that ask these questions, they get on my nerves. Every administration been fighting immigration. Why they have not came up with an immigration solution yet? Immigration has been an issue since the 1900s. Ellis Island. You had people that would come over here. They went through horrible conditions. Some of them was turned away. Some was locked up for months. Some of them, came over here and did terrible things. Why they can't solve that problem? But what he's doing is as evil as they have brought Nazism in this country. These are Nazis rebooted. And these people are really having pleasure in torturing these people. I don't know if, because you can't get the real news. But hearing about what these people are doing, I don't know if they're saying young girls are being taken away. Some of them are wind up being pregnant. These young girls, 9, 10 years old. It's I don't know why they don't talk enough about it. I don't know why they can't find out what's going on in these places. And that these people with masks can literally snatch a young girl off the street and run off with her.
would have put more resources to allow us to prosecute transnational criminal organizations for trafficking in guns, drugs, and human beings. But you know what happened to that bill? Donald Trump got on the phone, called up some folks in Congress, and said, kill the bill. And you know why? Because he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. Mm-hmm. And understand, this comes at a time where the people of our country actually need a leader who engages in solutions, who actually addresses the problems at hand. But what we have in the former president is...
I'm going to end with this. Yes, we finally could have got somebody, because that's what we need, a woman. A woman looks at a problem and try to solve it. We are problem solvers, okay? It's just in our DNA. And if we could get one problem solved, we could go on to the next one. Nobody's going to solve all the problems at one time. That's totally impossible. But if we could have solved that one problem, immigration, because she said she was going to pass that where these people that are coming in here that are intent on doing harm or have issues that could cause more problems here, or coming over here with drugs. You have Americans going back and forth peddling in drugs, okay? And if we could, but see, they don't want to really solve the drug problem because it's a billions dollar business. And the government is getting a cut of it, okay? They don't want to talk about that. They don't want to discuss that. And it don't matter if Democrat, Republican, or whoever are. But we need some kind of civility back in this country because a lot of us just want our lives back. Some form of peace, some form of affordability, and some form of being able to see our kids happy. Not one time have I ever heard Trump say anything about kids not being able to play outside without the threat of gun violence. All I hear him talk about is the blue states are dirty and nasty and smelly and full of crime. I guess that's supposed to make the red states feel real good, even though I'm sure they are plagued with domestic violence and crime. I guess he's never heard of Alabama. And then the news, they try not to really talk too much about their crime because if you don't know, it's just like a thief. They're not a thief until they get caught. So I'm gonna come back later, and I'm gonna try to find out if she ever explained why they kept the tariff. But they had so much to deal with when they came in office. We were just getting over a pandemic. Then they had to focus on the January 6th incident. Then they had this president being investigated, and it was just so much going on. And people literally lost their minds with that pandemic. Let me see. Let me finish.
Someone who would prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And I'll tell you something, he's going to talk about immigration a lot tonight, even when it's not the subject that is being raised. And I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies, because it's a really interesting thing to watch. You will see during the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills cause cancer. And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom. And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you. You will not hear him talk about your needs, your dreams, and your desires. And I'll tell you, I believe you deserve a president who actually puts you first, and I pledge to you that I will.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
Okay, we're going to end with that. Up until November, I want to talk about, I usually don't talk about him, but I'm going to talk about him and some of the other contestants because they have really just turned this into a game show. It's pitiful. These are the most unserious people I have ever seen on the political arena. Because we have to think about the children. I don't care what your children All children deserve a better life, to be able to listen to their president talk without cursing, without bullying people, calling their city dirty, smelly. It's not right. It's not right. Um, okay, I thought this was pretty interesting, but I'll talk about this later. Okay. A major events with all presidents from 1932 to 2000. And not one time since then have we ever dealt with, and that's another thing we need to, look at the past, because what he did when he called the military on people and stuff, it's been done before. But see, the difference is the humanity, the lack of humanity. All right, thank you for listening. Y'all have a wonderful day.